Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer. And today with me, I have an amazing lady, Miss Laleh Talebian. Did I say your name correct, Laleh?
Yes.
Very cool. So I have had the opportunity to see Laleh in our networking events, and she's an amazing lady. I love how she shows up. And I wanted to bring her to you to discuss what she does, and so you guys can benefit from it. So, Laleh, thank you very much for being here, for taking time out of your busy schedule, for being here, and thank you, audience members, for tuning in. Um, Tell us a little bit more about how you got to do what you do, and we'll go from there.
Thank you for having me, Dr. L. My journey started to where I am on literally my 15th birthday when my dad died of cancer. He was 49. And my dream before that was to become a scientist to cure disease. But on that day, cancer became my obsession, if you will. So I worked really, really hard to pursue that dream, if you will. I was born in Iran, and that is basically when I had to flee the country, it was basically for the main reason of being able to get an education after the Islamic Revolution. I left Iran right around the time of war between Iran and Iraq. And I landed in Belgium as a political refugee. And then fast forward 4 years later, I came to the United States. And exactly 20 years after my dad passed away, I got my Ph.D. in molecular biology of cancer and cancer biology, cancer immunology. I worked as a cancer science researcher for many years in clinical trials, but throughout those times something was missing, and I felt like my calling was more to prevent disease than to treat it, and I was always passionate about lifestyle. So I started using my critical thinking and problem solving skills and put it to prevention. Primarily through lifestyle, and my biggest passion is nutritional healing. So today I actually work with either people who are at high risk of getting cancer because of genetic predisposition, or recently diagnosed with cancer, or have been diagnosed years ago and want to stay cancer free. And I also work with others that people oftentimes don't link those things to cancer, but in my world, everything that is health related can lead to cancer, such as obesity and other diseases, inflammation, and poor lifestyle. So I work with people of all walks of life to help them take control of their health.
I love it. Laleh, there are so many parallels between you and I grew up in Iran. I've lost people to cancer. I've worked at Georgetown at breast and ovarian cancer stuff.
Mhm.
And I ultimately happen to agree with you that, nutrition is the best medicine when it comes to prevention. So I totally agree and salute you for what you're doing. So unfortunately, cancer is something that is affecting more and more people. And as we live longer and longer, the opportunity for these kind of cells to grow and go out of control becomes more and more. So are there anything specific? And I know that your work is not just related to cancer, but preventing all kinds of ailments, because when you prevent, you're doing this top-down thing. So you're addressing a lot of different things, not just a specific thing. But is there a specific area that you focus on and that you see the biggest benefit when it comes to what you do?
Absolutely. So my basic philosophy is we need to go back to live the way Mother Nature intended as much as possible. So looking at human evolutionary diet, what we ate is quite different from what we are told to eat today. And there are all these different types of diet, if you will, and I don't like to call it diet, but the ways of eating. And they're drastic for the most part, but it shouldn't be. So my basic philosophy is go back to the way Mother Nature intended, close to nature as possible. If there are labels, try to avoid them. So that means as much as possible, eliminate all processed foods. Because you work with parents, I don't have children, but oftentimes I work with parents that believe or feel that their kids can eat anything because they're young. And to me, that's the most important time when you actually prevent disease, because they're young and their bodies are small and they're vulnerable. And also, that is the best time to build habits. I oftentimes say I babysat a lot of kids. I would put things in front of them that would not be what their parents would put in front of them, and they would eat it just fine. So, the most important message that I always have for people I work with who are parents is no, it is not okay for your kids to eat Twizzlers because they're young. That's exactly when they shouldn't be eating them. So, my message is start young and don't feel like, oh, they're okay, they can eat whatever, because I think that's exactly opposite of how we should really teach children to eat and live and move.
I couldn't agree more. It's funny because sometimes I tell my kids, I say 50 years, 100 years from now, when people look back and they look at what they used to do for celebrations and things like that, and they would think that you're crazy for doing that to our kids, basically. And I totally agree. They think that because they're young, they'll burn off the calories and stuff. But you're right. They're building habits, lifelong habits. And because they're getting exposed to these things sooner, there's that much longer for these things to grow roots and take effect into the child's health and their cellular biology and everything else, and cascade down. So really, really, I love your vision. I love how you're approaching this. And of course, this is not to shame parents. It's very important for us to educate because we want the best for our children. And naturally, having the information is going to enable us to make the best choices. So what are the biggest challenges that you see if you're dealing with parents that they come to you? And what are the complaints that you hear?
That's a great question. The biggest challenge almost every single one of my clients have is really not knowing what to believe anymore. There's so much information that should I be eating fat? Should I not be eating fat? Should I be a vegan? Should I not? Is meat fat? Is meat? So they just don't know what to trust. That's number one challenge. And then once you try to explain, okay, this is how we were supposed to eat. Now they need a blueprint. But my biggest philosophy is I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to teach you why and how. So oftentimes when I say, for example, avoid sugar, processed sugar, if I just say that, everyone knows that. But if I told you that sugar is one of the major ways that cancer cells feed themselves, so you want to starve that. Now, whether you have cancer or not, it's important to us. We want to stay cancer-free. And so that's one of my biggest philosophies, to teach people exactly why. And I have a benefit of being able to explain biology and science in simple terms. Right. I'm a teacher at heart. So when I explain that to them, they are much more likely to understand and really be able to accept how important it is and believe it and own it. So the biggest challenge is too much information, really not knowing what and who to trust, and not really understanding why.
Right, absolutely. There's just a little bit of information many times in people's hands, and then there's the wrong kind of information. Then, as you said, there's conflicting information, because usually when something comes out, there is some parameters and some baseline that they set before they come out with their findings. And oftentimes when the results come out, it doesn't address and doesn't mention those baselines. So people are getting this information. They're like, why is this conflicting what I said? Because the baseline was different. This was based on this group of people. That was based on this other thing being present. So yeah, I totally get that. All right. So given this state of confusion and over news at the same time, how do you sift through, and what are some of the tips that you have for people trying to eat healthier, trying to master their eating habits?
So I have three powerful principles, if you will. Number one is what I call the unique factor. So every single person is unique. Correct. And there is not one size fits all for everyone. So the first thing that I try to address is you are unique and there's only one of you. So what works for me may not work for you. So let's first figure that optimal blend for every person. Number two is there are no magic pills. The magic is you. So don't sit there and look for, a shake or a bar or a pill or literally any of those things. It takes work like anything else. So if you want long-term results for lifelong, we all want to be healthy for life. Nobody wants to be healthy for a couple of years and then have the pain come back, right? Who wants that? So you want to be pain-free, healthy, happy, functional for the rest of your life. And if you want that, you have to commit to it long-term. So one of my biggest differences with other practitioners, if you will, I don't follow the 80-20 rule. I follow the 100% rule because I believe in you, my client, whoever works with me, that you are capable of taking the 100% and own it, not just aim for 80% and say 20% of the time is okay to go off. So I don't believe in cheating or cheat days. Cheating your body is like cheating your spouse or someone you love, or telling your kid it's okay to cheat on an exam 80% of the time. Well, no, not really. So if cheating is not okay, it is not okay to cheat your body. So why would you want to cheat the most important person in your life, which in my mind is you? So you have to work hard at it and you have to commit to it long term. And the number three thing that I value in this relationship with my clients, and that's what they need a lot, is trust and accountability and what they call Laleh's tough love. I won't lie, I will tell the truth. For example, if somebody says, well, I went to a party and I had too many drinks, or I did this or that, something they were not supposed to do, and they know very well that, it's detrimental to their health. I'm not going to say, it's okay, everyone fails, you're not perfect. No, it's not okay. I'm going to say, yes, it happened, but let's regroup and see why it happened and how those actions have consequences. And I will help them understand how to overcome those barriers or obstacles, if you will, because everyone does. And it takes time to build a habit. It takes time. It's not, you don't get up and run a marathon tomorrow. You're going to practice, but you're going to train. And I oftentimes say to my clients, the same way you would train for a marathon or race or anything, you have to train your brain to eat the certain way and not go backwards. We never want to go backwards. So those are my three powerful principles. So a unique factor, you're always unique. So don't look for something someone else is doing because it's probably not going to work for you. And it's no magic pill. It takes work. It's a lifestyle. If you want lifelong health, you have to commit life for a long term, forever. There's no cheat days. There's no breaks from health. And you have to be accountable to yourself, but also understand that you need some accountability partner or support to give you that tough love. And that's what I often offer my clients.
I think what you just said has been the most fair and realistic view that I have heard from professionals when it comes to nutrition, and I love that approach. And I'm going to throw you a curveball just because you won that award, which is I hear this often when people say, you know what, diet, I don't care. I subscribe to everything in moderation. What are your thoughts on that?
One of my pet peeves. I don't like that at all. So would you say cyanide is okay in moderation? Right. Would you say, smoke once a week? Moderation, right? It's the same thing. So no, I don't believe in that at all. And people oftentimes think that I'm drastic that way. And they say, but how about like when you need comfort food? And that is something that people oftentimes say, that 80-20 rule, because we are emotional when it comes to food. But I always challenge people, say, think about the cavemen way back then in their caves. Do you think that under stress of being chased by a wild animal, they would think, what kind of comfort food can I go grab for right now? Do I have cookies? So no, right? So this is something that we have built into our lifestyle to give ourselves an out, to say, that's why I need to not aim for 100%. I need that 20% for my emotional eating or addressing some sort of emotional. And that is absolutely not true. Because I always say, let's go back to that. The same thing, that convenience, give me a shake. Like, do you think cavemen had a magic bullet in their cave and they made a shake? No, they ate their food and they worked for it, right? At least be lucky that we don't have to go and hunt, most of us, and go and, hunt and gather our food. We can go to the grocery store. So that's my thoughts on, moderation. No, not everything in moderation. I don't believe in that.
Well, I'm glad that I asked that question. That definitely, for me at least, put it to rest. And I hope other people take your advice on it. Speaking of other people, how can people find out more about you, what you do, and connect with you?
No, absolutely. So I am on Facebook, Dr. Laleh, Ph.D. I am on LinkedIn. But the best way really to contact me, I'm a one-to-one person. I really like to talk to people. So emailing me is the best way really to start a conversation. And I always in that email offer a free call, which I will send a calendar link if someone wants to have a conversation. My email is contact@drlaleh.com or contact@drlaleh.com. So reach out to me and I'm happy to have a conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Laleh. I appreciate it. I will put all of the details that you just mentioned in the description box. So guys, I definitely encourage you to utilize this resource. This is the most valuable and real life, fair, honest, realistic approach that I have seen when it comes to addressing one of the most foundational yet important pieces of our day-to-day life. Basically what's going into your mouth. And it has profound impacts on everything from longevity to your energy and your performance and how you show up in life, and your health as well. So definitely connect with Dr. Laleh. Make sure that you have a conversation, check her information out, and also thank you for taking time out of your busy life to be here and tune in. If you haven't already done so, make sure you click subscribe so that you can get notified of the latest experts and the gifts that they bring to our channel. And Dr. Laleh, I really appreciate you being here today and sharing your wisdom with us. And we look forward to further collaborations in the future. Any final words before we finish?
I want to thank you. It's an honor. I really appreciate the opportunity, and the platform you offer is really, really amazing. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, guys. Until next time. Cheers.